Pray before you read further, for the end of times is nigh.
Hello, welcome to the second video on Abbadon the 13 Seals. I'm Andy from Lost Haven Games, and we're going to be talking about the card mechanics for the game, or a general overview of them. So I mentioned in the first video, Abbadon is a role-playing game that uses playing cards, just regular playing cards, instead of dice. So with card-based mechanics, someone needs a hand of cards. That someone is going to be the players at the table. The GM doesn't play hands of cards. It kind of works a little bit like Powered by the Apocalypse, where all of the action is driven by players. The GM is there to facilitate the story and sort of pace the game, arbitrate rules, set the challenge, all that sort of stuff. So, minimum hand of cards in Abbadon is 2. These are my Abbadon playing cards that I had made as a test sample, but you can use any playing cards for Abbadon. And you need a target number. Target number in Abbadon is 13. Unlike Blackjack, you're looking for the exact number, you're not close to, which can make things early game quite difficult, but once your character gets some experience, the ball starts going, things start getting a lot easier for you, because the amount of cards that you get in your hand can vary depending on the ranks that you have in skills, how good the equipment is that you've got, your position in combat, your attributes. You can also vary that target number, and again, skills can do that, equipment, position in combat, and attributes. And when I say you can vary the target number, it works in degrees. So if you have 1 degree target number adjustment, instead of needing that 13, you would need a 12 to 14. So you're adjusting by 1 in both directions of the 13, giving you a sort of wider margin of error. On top of having that variation on target number, the variation on the cards that you have, you also have degrees of success. So each archetype in Abbadon is associated with a particular set. I'm going to use the Faithful as an example. They are associated with hearts. So if they drew their 2 cards and they had a 10 and a 3, but they weren't matching, both of them went hearts, it would just be a regular success. They would do minimum damage, their abilities would have a minimum effect. If they were defending themselves, they would still take some damage, but not the full brunt as if they'd failed. If that 10 and 3 were both hearts, that would be a success. And so the damage that they do goes up, the effect of their skills goes up, the amount of damage that they reduce goes up. Then you have face successes. So again, these rely on you having cards that match your suit. So again, Faithful hearts, they draw 2 cards, they have a Jack and a 2 of hearts. Jack is an 11, so that would be a 13, but they would get all the extra benefits of having the Jack in there as well. Similarly with a Queen, like for Queen and an Ace, if your target number is adjusted, the Queen is a 12 on her own. And then finally the King. Kings are 13s numerically. Kings are always going to be successes, but when you play the king of your corresponding suit, you get the highest degree of success that you can in the game, which means lots of damage. You don't just nullify damage, you do damage back to enemies. Your skills have their maximized effect. So getting a king is always very good in Abbadon. The other type of face card you get is the Joker. You keep the Joker in the deck in Abbadon. It counts as a wild card. Players can play it as any card that they want. In the playtesting, I found that players tend to use him as a king. But instead of being put into the discard pile, the Joker gets handed over to the GM, and the GM can play that card any point on any cards that that player plays to cancel one of those cards out, which is likely going to turn a success into a failure, amps up the tension, amps up the drama, but there's some control in there, and the fact that you have to kind of rely on Jokers being played. The final thing I'm going to talk about in terms of mechanics in this video is Pushing Fate. Pushing Fate in Abbadon is a bit of a gamble. For example, if you've got your 2 cards, you're looking for 13, you've only drawn a 2 and a 6, which is only going to give you a total of 8. You could push Fate, and in that case the GM will draw a card from the deck, place it face up, and if you can use that card in correspondence with any of the ones that you have in your hand to get a success, it will count as a success. Meaning that if you play any face cards with that, they will count as being part of your suit as well, so it ups the degree of success you have. There's obviously a drawback to this. If you fail, then the GM will have instant repercussions for you in combat. It might be that the enemy gets to hit you with no reaction given, or you extend the duration of a condition that you've got on you, or you take a condition like being knocked down or knocked back or stunned. But there's always repercussions if you fail to push Fate. And that's pretty much it for the basic overview of mechanics. If you have any questions, please ask them down in the comments. And if you want to see more, like, subscribe, and keep your eye open for the Kickstarter. And I'll see you next time.